And welcome back to Clutch Time. This is your host, Rico. Today, we are doing a little buy or sell on coaches that might be on the hot seat. And so I thought that this was a great article to take a look at. You can find this on ESPN.com. This is written by an ESPN analyst, Patricia Filipowski, and talking about five coaches that are on the hot seat. And so out of these five, there are coaches that I believe should not be on the hot seat. But let's start with the coach that I do think is on the hot seat. And let's start with Leon Rice. And so Leon Rice, Boise State, I think is definitely on the hot seat. I think is probably not going to make it out of this season. Certainly may not start next season up. But Boise State, I think that this program just had a lot of anticipation really going into this year, especially after having a pretty good year last year. In fact, last season, they were 21-12. And they had a pretty good season because in that conference, you had San Diego State, who was ranked 15th in the country. You had New Mexico, who was ranked 25th, and Gonzaga, who was ranked 13th. And so I think that Boise State came in with a lot of anticipation this year, thinking that they were going to have a better record than they're currently having right now. And I just think that just what is going to be probably I think the last straw here for Leon Rice is that, just so much just expectations are around this program, and I don't think that he's going to make it out of this season because of that. So next up, the next coach that I think is certainly on the hot seat, it's going to be Oklahoma, and it's going to be Porter Moser. I think that he certainly is on the hot seat at 5-11. And I think that when you look at the season that Oklahoma had last season, I think that there's just been a whole bunch of disappointment around this program because last year they were 7-23. I know that we still have 16, 17 games to go, and a lot can change. But at 5-11, I'm not sure that the players are necessarily responding, talking about the inconsistent play on both sides of the ball. And so I think that is going to be an issue here because, you need to build with a solid foundation, And so I don't think that Porter Moser has been able to establish that foundation along with the expectations. And so I think that, yes, Porter Moser is probably going to be out the door and definitely on the hot seat. So next up, we're going to be talking about some coaches that I think should not be, on this list. And let's start with Ben Johnson in Minnesota. And so I think that Ben Johnson has done a terrific job for Minnesota. In fact, I like what he's been able to do, with his junior there, Donald Infetti. I feel like he's done a terrific job as far as leading this team. And I just feel like at this point in time, with the record and just what Minnesota has been through, there's so much upside here because when I look at their games and the games that they have lost, they've been close basketball games because they lost to LSU 69-62 in that one. In the opener against Tennessee, 103-98. And then this last game, 92-84. This is a team that I think is just really on the brink of really just kind of coming together. And so I don't think that Ben Johnson should be really on the hot seat at this point in time. I think that, there's still a lot left with this program. And I think that they're going to take off really in the second half of the season. It looks like the players are responding to him. I would not let him go. He should not be on the hot seat. So next up, talking about a coach that definitely shouldn't be even mentioned in this article. And I think that, I want to see Calvin Sampson just continue on as a coach because it talks about the rumors and the fact that maybe Coach Sampson might be wanting to walk away. And I'm telling you now, if you are, just the head of this program, you cannot let Calvin Sampson go. I think that this is a coach that certainly shouldn't be on the hot seat. I know it hasn't necessarily got off to a great start, and this team is not ranked or anything like that. But let's be honest. I mean, with Coach Sampson, you're not going to find too many coaches like this that can get the most out of their roster because currently right now at the time of this podcast here, he is 21st all time as far as a win percentage is concerned for coaches, got 759 wins. And the winning percentage is at 67%. That's phenomenal. So you do not let this type of coach walk out the door. And I think that he is also just really starting to pull this roster together because I mean, you look at Carl Holmes, you look at Freddie Stonewall, these are players that have gotten it done for him. And I just think that when you look at one of their losses here against the University of North Carolina was ranked 13th in the nation last year. And so or this year, excuse me, and they're 4-1 out of their last 5 games. So this team is a team that definitely can get it done. It was just a 10-point loss in this one. And the key takeaway from this is that Houston was right there. The 3-point percentage was just a little bit lower in this game. Had they been able to knock down, I think, the 3 ball a little bit more and be a bit more efficient there, they probably could have won this game. And we're talking about a team now that is on a winning streak. They're winning. They're at 5-3 at this point versus 4-4. And so I think that, we maybe are looking at this situation a little bit more differently. And on top of that, look, 5 sophomores, 2 juniors. I think that this team is still really coming together. You still have an excellent rim protector in Derek Long, who I think that they need to play a little bit more. And then also, too, you have Abraham Casanogo as well that needs to be out there on the floor. That's the size that you need out there. A very good switch defender. Both are good screeners. And I think that if anybody's going to get the max out of them offensively, well, then it is going to be, I think, again, it has to go back to Calvin Sampson. So this is a coach that definitely shouldn't be there. And lastly, I just wanted to shift focus and go back here to Minnesota. And so with Minnesota, again, I think that Ben Johnson should not be, on the hot seat, because when I look at them too, just going back and looking at what they have done, they are currently behind the University of Maryland, who is 19th in the country. You have Iowa, who's 7th, and then you have Indiana at 10th, and then Rutgers is right there. And so I think that this team is poised to really jump, and that's why I'm definitely on board with keeping Ben Johnson with 19 games to go. I feel like that this is a team that certainly can get it done. And last season in their conference, there were 6 programs in the SP top 25. So you don't let Ben Johnson go. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about, this recent article. Do you feel like, all 5 of these coaches are definitely on the hot seat? They're not going to make it out the season, just they're going to be fired outright? Or do you feel like me, that there are at least 3 coaches here on this list that should not even be on this list? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Make sure that you like and subscribe. It means a lot to us here as we try to reach our subscriber count. And once again, this is another episode of Clutch Time. And as we always like to say, see the game, be the game. This is SimWorld. All right. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.